fish fry were gone. But then I found a little piggy dipping in the piggy pond. You know, I'll treat frogs a lot nicer than dragonfly larvae. Bring them right out here to the frog pond. But I've noticed that the snails are also like eating it. Makes me wonder if I should eat the snails. Rachel Ray's Yummy Ammo score. This score's a 10 out of 10. Welcome to another episode of Brenton's Fish. Figured I'd go through every one of my fish tanks and give them a good feeding. Give them a feeding, update everybody. Say something. Okay, where are we going to start? This tank is just as good as any. This is my bread and butter. Tetracolor tropical granules. So you'll see me using this for the fish. The shrimp can eat that as well. The fish, I feel like, can food deny the shrimp, and also they can overfeed on this. So I'll often do a pellet. That's about as cheap as I go. These pellets, though. I've watched breeding come to a standstill when I've gone cheaper. It's like Aquascaping or something that's like $4. Thought I got a good deal until they stopped having babies. If I'm feeling nice, use this. This is probably fourth, and the strong third would be algae wafers. And for my betas, any catfish, auto catfish, trying to keep snails alive. You're trying to bolster a common snail population. I feel like my Japanese trapdoor snails like these, but the mystery snails are a little more finicky. And the Corydoras enjoy these. This is really for the catfish as well. I've noticed that the auto fish are very active when this gets dropped. It's a shrimp thing, and alrighty, those for the foods. There's another one. I do use Corey's little fry food. There we go. I will use the fry food. When I run out, I've been just throwing the tetracolor granules and a grinder, a coffee grinder, the same one I use for eggshells, and I will grind up my own fry food. Just refill the bottles. But I do find usefulness in this. I do find these useful in a pinch. Guess I'll kind of put these to the side. All right then. A few things before I get started. I do feed pretty heavily. I like to have heavy spawns. I like to have lots of babies, big old population. And with that comes feeding. Sometimes I do 2 light feedings a day. What else? It's like if you're trying to get a lot of snails, feeding every day is probably a good thing. If you're trying to keep your catfish alive or certain types of sucker fish. I don't know why that one keeps getting cloudy. Talk about that one in a second. But yeah, I feed heavy. I don't feed as heavy as I could. I could feed heavier, mop it. Let's see. This will turn off the lights, do 1 light at a time. How exciting. I feel like what's going on is I need to clean out that filter. Frustrating. All right, we got green Jade shrimp in here. This one's gone cloudy because I think this filter needs to be pulled apart and rebuilt. I thought these guys were pretty cool. They're actually my 3rd or 4th choice now. A little bit of a pain. It's been a long time. I haven't, in its defense, I haven't touched it in a long time, but you know, my number 1 choice would be something that still runs if I don't touch it for 1 or 2 years. It's a hard ask. This red lily's been struggling. I think the ram's horn snails are to blame. It's also medium to hard water. So I guess go ahead and get started. All right, bombs away. You don't really have to be shy about the feeding when you've got scavengers, when you have an army. I mean, you do have to worry about overfeeding, but I don't, you know, this amount's fine. I've had some trouble with these guys. As you can see, the colony is not as thick as it could be. I feel like this is one of my first new males that looks like he has the correct markings. The eBayer that I purchased these from called them throwbacks, and it was pretty funny. He was like, you can put them in a different tank or you can throw them away. I was like, geez, just don't put them in a different tank. Mystery moss. The back half is Pelo moss. Don't like how male has been moving. I've had trouble with him since day 1. There's his counterpart, a little more lively. See in the food. Was it 1 pellet per 20 shrimp? Bombs away. So the fish kind of go for the pellets, but they kind of give up. There's our friend, Auto Catfish. I'm gonna reschool all these catfishes back together. Look at that face. Really looks like the cat who ate the mouse. These greens can be a little frustrating if you don't know what's going on. If they're about to molt, they'll look black. If they're stressed out, they'll have kind of a blue hue to them. But if they're nice and settled, they'll look green. All right, I'll try some of this Bacteria AE, just in case the tank wasn't cloudy enough. Let's see if we can get the catfish to move. That Bacteria AE is swirling around, and the catfish is unimpressed.
Leave me alone to think.
Oh yeah, that's some hot auto action. That Bacteria AE, it's got them moving. These are a social fish. I need to get them moved. Did a good job with the algae here. I really took care of all this hair algae by cranking down the light from 10 hours to 6 hours. The hair algae just kind of fell apart. You can kind of see some of it in the moss. Have a catfish in there. This is my largest population of Malaysian snails, the trumpet snails. So I will usually put an algae wafer in there. When I run these power heads, they use the vase to hide into. It's this little glass vase to avoid the current. These guys are very peaceful with their fry. Could be my imagination, but I always felt like you never had to worry about these guys with their fry. Black bar endlers, red cherry shrimp, Malaysian trumpet snails. Although those are sprinkled everywhere. Put the foxtail in here. Plenty of algae. The thing I like about this food is you can grind it up really fine with your finger and forethumb. Your finger and your thumb on the shape of an L on your forehead. Really gives something to look forward to for these youngsters. Covered in fry. They're not weighted down like Cory has his. You have to kind of mess with the fickleness of it needing water weight to sit at the bottom. But the fine ones avoid that issue. Although I will say I could probably use a fine sponge filter. Get off there, George. I've seen them on this one. Wonder if I put a bubbler under there. Like you get an air stone under there. It'll keep them off of it. I've seen risky behavior in this tank. No other things I seem to have a problem with. I've left them in there for a while, so they've probably got algae on them, probably very tantalizing. On Rachel Ray's Yummy Ammo score, this score's a 10 out of 10. The ball of algae said I've been getting eaten by the snail. The ball of algae has actually become a guppy feast. And so there they are, eating hungrily like they've never eaten before. A big rotating ball of algae. I mean, this algae, it's got to be the num-num kind because I've never seen them eat algae that quick. What in the world? This is the 20-gallon tall. The frog bit, I've had better batches of frog bit, but indoors I've at least got it aphid free. Got a pothos in here, and the roots are doing really well. Y'all are gonna have to forgive me about the cloudiness on this one. I'm not sure if the guppy grass is deteriorating. I went easy on the fertilizer tabs, and the Amazon sword just kind of uprooted itself. I had to put it in a pond. Got the light up high on this one. See if we can't put it down. Stop seeing my own reflection in the glass. Sounded stuffy all of a sudden. Just in time for winter content. There we go. Yeah. So this is my oldest assorted shrimp colony. There we go. A lot of different colors. It's pretty good commentary, right? A lot of different colors. Look at that one with the red face. So the fun part of this is watching all the mutations, and I've never seen one like that before. Oh yeah, it's an old Brenton invention. See, I'm putting these all together. The browns seem minimized. I'm always adding colors here. I'm not sure if those are wild browns. I often see green jade shrimp that kind of look like that. You get rillies, naturally occurring rillies. I've done, this whole thing kept clouding on me. I really think it's the frog bit choking everything out. And then I think that the roots are short because the ram's horn come in and eat the frog bed. You mean Julie Corydoras, I think? Got 5 of them in here. This is where I kept all the auto catfish as well. There's 2 or 3 still in here. I want to reconsolidate them all in here. Find a different home for the beta. I accidentally left Guppy fry in here. I think 1 is an assorted, and then there's the tiger endler pair. And there's the root system. And despite everything, despite the cloudiness, this tank seems to be really stable. Half of it is sand. Probably 3 inches of sand and half of it. You know, I think I owed a lot of that at first to the Amazon sword, but now to this standard Pothos. Okay, it did have frozen bloodworms. So a lot of times when I need it easy and simple, just use the freeze-dried bloodworms. Probably the more expensive, the better, since you're already taking a shortcut. Not literally more expensive. So after separating the top little patch of frog bit, I bestow upon them the sacred bloodworms. But yeah, like I said with this tank, it doesn't smell. Done a 50% water change with aged water twice this month already. Refitted that sponge filter. You know, the loose grain are cool until you have to wash them out when they're full of baby shrimp. So yeah, given that a squeeze didn't yield anything, so I think I have the air running wrong through it. Right now it's going too powerful. Before I think it was too light. That one, nice and blue. Kind of an anomaly. I don't often see a turquoise one. Saw another one. Oh, here he comes back. It's purple. So you get kind of those really types. One just went to hiding. There we go. It's like a red, really. I fed them last night and they look like they're still munching over here. So I might wait and just give y'all a fair shake. The catfish are still scavenging. The betas are always so funny. He always slow on the uptake when it comes to food. He doesn't find it as quick as the guppies. Any of them. I don't care how high quality it is. If it's a little round, you know, I'm not only a believer in the all carnivore diet, but I like how loose the body of a bloodworm is. So, you know, after watching fish after fish get bloated, die, not respond to salt treatments to get the constipation flowing, I'm pretty sensitive about the texture of the food as well. And I think that mosquito larvae are the correct density. And then the freeze-dried ones are extra light. It's like a little Betta salad. And you know, he's definitely not hungry. He's nice, big, and round. And you know, I think he's satisfied enough. He's a hunter by nature, but there's just so many shrimp in here. I don't think he hunts. He's a little feistier than the white one. He's got kind of a Halloween theme going on. I feel like he's been real peaceful. Not only do I force all the other guppies, every fish in this tank gets all bloodworms. If a beta is co-chilling with roommates, we go the Betta diet. And yeah, just with 3 guppies, very light load. At least this doesn't seem to affect them and take on with a nice light neutrality. And you put him in here with the guppy mob, you know, he'd be staring through the glass. Oh, it's bizarre as I think his eyes have changed color. He used to have 1 black eye and 1 blue one, and he keeps flipping on me. And I'm seeing 2 blue eyes. Let me see. Let me get that flip. No, yeah, it's a black eye. It's the same eye, it's just, I think it's still blue. Oh, right out of my range. Yeah. In a lot of cases, I think that, you know, if there's one fish, you should get probably a Betta. It's a shame they don't live longer. Yeah, about as long as a guppy, so of course they're enjoying the bloodworms now. He's gone. Hello and welcome to another episode of Snail Calcium Deficiency. I'm your host and favorite duckweed grower, Brenton. This is a crunchy cup of duckweed. Kind of like plaster of Paris. It's kind of gross as it just sits at the bottom. I'm trying to get the mix on with this little paddle. This moment brought to you by Tetra. Whenever you need wafers on the go, choose Tetra, and then you'll know. Work all day, and what do you get? The dead fish, mystery snail, and death. All right. I don't know, I think I've got this mixed. I guess we'll see. We'll put the soup in the coop. Yeah. Oh yeah, wake up all them scuds. They're like, brother, can you give us life? Give us life, brother. Shells are looking a lot better. They really seem to take less part of me throwing tums in here. So I tripled the amount of equilibrium. And these shells, I feel like they get better immediately. I don't see one scuffed one. And there were scuffed ones in here. All right, we got something crunchy at the bottom. So go ahead and reach up here and make that noise. The solution is dilution. This has 3 times the amount as that one. It is milk. Give that boy some milk. That's what I need. That's what I need. A hand blender. All right, let's see if that does the magic. Oh, I forgot to show you what these shells are looking at. Look at this sucker. I smelled him. He's not dead. Shell thinning at the lip, though. This is all my fault. This is my fault. Oh, oh, forgive me. Forgive me. My snails for my ignorance, my foolishness, my arrogance. Hurry. Gosh, just not say we did. Oh. How hard do they want the water? Because this water is a bowling pin. Ow. Okay, so we get the leaves in there. I didn't put as many leaves in there as I did with the string snails here, because there's not scuds having a party in here. All right. There's a lot of southern oak. It's looking crotchety, crunchety. It's crackling. As you can see, I think the shells are getting better finally. Oh my gosh, why aren't you focusing? Yeah, there we go. You see the lip and how the lip looks full for the first time. So that was it. Maybe. Fingers crossed. Every time I do a video, I think that was it. Right when I put this in, though, they really came to life from a sleep, rolled on down and munched and crunched. This one's kind of the same story. You can see a little bit of that new shell.
They said, "Thank you, Father."
All right, let's do it. Thank you, Father. All right, say cheese. Was that too much? Give that boy some milk. Give me a little bit more water. Used to go down like this. Used to be known as a bad snail keeper. I think their diet's probably one of the more complex ones. Kind of reminds me of hermit crabs. You give a little typo into the YouTube of how to take care of a hermit crab, and you realize they need like 23 different foods. How embarrassing. I fed my hermit crab pellets growing up. They lived for 30 years. I think mine lived for like 3 months. I was like, Huffy, you lived a good life. Slurp. All right, bottom up. Okay, one more mix. Oh, look at that snail in there. I'm really sorry, little buddy. You're in the washing machine. Somebody check on R2. Oh, yeah. Roll that beautiful bean footage. Look, we're even gonna get the snail out of there. All right. Oh, there we go. Well, that just looks scrummy, don't you know? This changes my brain chemistry. Whatever the world of crystal ward's doing under there, waiting. That's why my mystery snails can't lay eggs. It's Jumanji. All right. Island of Misfit Toys. Got the magical snail food. I'm sorry. I'm being distracted. Excuse me. I had no idea that was possible. Thank you. So this is frozen kale from the last time I made it. So we've got recipe 3, 2, and 1 for the mystery snails. And then the green soylent rapashi for the Japanese mystery. So I'll take this, and this is the one they need to be fed. It's been the longest since they had this one. All right, get on here. This is a hot tip. I'll freeze these. Gotten one more clunky as I've gone along. A lot less precise. This is all poured into a bowl and one chunk, and I throw it on a cutting board and cut it while it's still jello, and then freeze it. Sometimes they clump together. You just give it a really breaks it up and shows them who's boss. One for the money. Oh yeah, this guts are like. This is a real incognito feeding. There we go. That's good eating. All right, we have what I think is my most hungriest flock, the purple and red hybrids. Got the very classy boss in there. That helps when this thing's on a timer. Every 30 minutes for 3 hours it goes off. Some of them like to hide in there. Please don't beat up my Carlo. It's on its last leg. But this strain has grown on me. God, I think this is the lemon pothos. Not the best, but it has rooted. Okay, food. I mean, these guys have me trained the best. You come up here. Oh. Catfish. Feed 'em heavy. Make 'em want for nothing. Good Lord, don't hook yourself on the wood. There's plenty of food, little ones. It's amazing how quickly they finish it. I'll go ahead and get them out of there. Yo, go over here. Of course, this tank is rocking the shrimp colony. Usually with this one, try to get the pellets deep into the forest. While they're distracted, go ahead and put the auto pellet in there, or the algae wafer that's for the auto, rather. The auto is doing a terrible job, now that I think about it. I have to hit these guys again. He did some extra aquascaping. This pump came down and created a whole crater here. It's all kind of tamed down now. Uprooted all the Monte Carlo, and I guess that looks different. Look, they've matured more. It's like 5 days. Good Lord, they fell into the pit. We hunger for more cheddar, Father. I have very low pH in this tank, and I'm wondering if this block of wood is the culprit. The plants are gone. I've tried to minimize the light. You know, I realized that one of the main aesthetics that I'm in it for is kind of like a TV screen experience, or there's a certain, like when you walk into like an aquarium, a large aquarium or a pet store, and the room is dark and from floor to ceiling it's just like fish tanks, individual panels that you get to view, and then everything else is dark. That's what I was seeking. This room was really making me uncomfortable. I had these grow lights sitting here and a few tropical plants. I've moved them, and I'll show you where I put them later. I just turned the air up on this. You know, these things have ended up being really useful in a pinch. It's getting ridiculous though when you count how many air pumps I've had plugged in. It is getting to the point where maybe I just need one big one. When that'll happen. What else? The wires are everywhere. They are constantly changing. I'm constantly dealing with failures. Pumps go out. Some get weaker. I feel like some pressure will play off the pressure of other ones, so it's like constant adjustment, and I'm glad that I had the foresight to at least make these things accessible. I have them all the same, where if I want to turn off that air pump, you know, there's one air line there for that filter, 2, so I go 1, 2, and off we go. Now if I'm putting it on high, this is about to turn on the circulation pump. We're gonna mix some of this duckweed, make it unpleasant. I've been going for 3 hours a day on this thing, and that's been good enough for everyone else. It's even just an hour and a half. It's 30-minute increments, then a 30-minute rest to go easy on everyone. The biggest risk is probably shrimp getting sucked up. It doesn't happen in any of them but one tank, and so like every time I know the timer's going off, I go in and I tap that to make sure the shrimp don't die. This is a, yeah. See, they'll be like up here, and I gotta say, no, Bobby, get back down in your room. Another thing is these filters will clog on me, and I'm not like I've really grown to dislike these filters right here. You know, I thought they were cool, slick, they stayed off to the side. The fine mesh along with like this fickle piping, I just find that I need to always add more air. When I get lazy about cleaning them out, I need to add more air. And then it's not just cleaning them out. I feel like this black pipe gets brittle. This light's getting a shower. Jeez. The hose gets brittle. The pieces of plastic get brittle. And so it's like not just a clogged sponge. I find myself taking it apart. The disclaimer is I am very lazy. I shouldn't say lazy. I'm very passive. I like to set myself up for success at the beginning and then hopefully be able to leave it. Now I can feel the fish tank, so I don't have any thermometers. I've got my thermometer gun, but my cloudy tanks went up to them. They were really cold, and now with my little Japanese trapdoor snails, I do want to keep this under 74 degrees, but it was like 69 degrees. This was like 68, and I could feel it just by touching. And these tanks, the first indicator was they were cloudy. And I'm sitting there changing out water. I've got aged water that's already heated to 78, so they probably like the warm rush every once in a while. and I couldn't figure out why I was so cloudy. I was cloudy because it was cold. The bacteria in here grows, I think, above a certain threshold, and at nighttime it keeps dipping down and it partially kills bacteria, and they keep blooming back. I am real lazy with the sponge filters. I do like the Aquarium Co-op loose sponge filters. I have run into an issue. How can I put this? They're great for that attitude I've got where I want to leave the sponge filter for like 8 months. This thing might have too much air running through it. Okay, that cat disrupted my train of thought. Baby shrimp, that's what I want to say. The baby shrimp hide in here, and that's good. I cannot clean these out with the baby shrimp in there. You take one squeeze and you hear a bunch of tiny little screams, and you're like, what was that? And then you realize that a bunch of baby shrimp were in here. That's been a little bit of a challenge for me. And while I'm talking about filters, I guess my favorite one are these cheap, fine sponge ones. The only thing is, this is getting eaten by ram's horn. My water is about 150, 200 ppm. So it's like hard, but not hard enough to keep the snail shells up without intervention. Well, anyways, I'm not sure if that's what's happening to this red lily, but I've noticed that the snails are also like eating it. Makes me wonder if I should eat the snails. What else? My Mandula, after a long time, finally came up, started breathing. I intentionally put scuds in here when I thought they were cute. They're not cute. And thinking that the guppies were going to eat them, the endlers, they did not. All right. So we got a little burnt in the greenhouse, I think. I'm having trouble figuring out the length of those Yes Come lights. They say 6 to 15 inches. I feel like it's a lot further. There's like a burn spot. This is either the lemon or just a regular. And if that's the regular, then this is the lemon or the regular. I think this is the regular. It's growing a little better. And I remember when I got this cutting, it was labeled a regular Pothos, and then the less shimmery one, the less yellow one, was actually the lemon Pothos, which would make this the green Pothos, the green Emperor. So that, yeah, learning the Pothos. This is a regular one as well. I need to double check my notes. Forgot which cuttings these came from. Probably regular. Yeah, so as I live life with these sponge filters, maybe it wouldn't have been a big deal if all these bottom ones are dirted. And I wish they were. They were set up in a time when I just started, actually, and I haven't really updated it that much. So the cloudiness has gone down on this one about 5 days. Getting close to being clear again. This guppy sits there and he lives with like 3 little baby endlers that like made it in here. One's a common guppy and it's a female. The other's an endler female, and then the little tiger endler. I could take the tiger and put him back with the population. I could probably maybe mix him with the mixed crew. I'll put every type of endler in here just to see what happens. I'll have to keep the females separate because I don't want a female guppy getting into my mixed endler crew. I've already got mixed guppy endlers and I like those as well. I just want to see. I cleaned the tank, rustled up all the shrimp because I drilled down when I refilled the water. I made a little cove for them. He's enjoying it too. Back in the fish room. What looks like what? I hit this tank with copper. That made it. It's just chilling. 2 mollies. And there's a guppy fry in here. I never see them. I can barely see them right now. I'm gonna reshoot some of this without these backlights on. Little guppy fry, 2 koi, that made it. My last male died in quarantine. And these things, they just go off. This one is a hoot. I feel like this black molly has a lot of personality. I think it's a female, I'm not sure. Down here with the 1 endler couples that were giving me the wobblies. Copper safe, copper sulfate, made them safe. I'm going to show y'all how this one eats in here, but then I'm going to switch it down to the other tank with the other black mollies. Of course, the 2.5 gallon, it's a little small. I really do like these 2.5 gallons though. You keep your eye on it. weekly water change with these glass bottoms, probably. Once they come out of medication and the filler plants start taking over, the water changes aren't so bad. See, of course, this is one I've recently dosed. It kills everything. And this is another one I recently dosed. Keep finding little members that I think will benefit in a copper dip. So I've got some males actually from this tank. I was seeing shimming in this one, which breaks my heart. The neon's in here. So I figured to not cross-contaminate, I'll just take a clipping of that Pothos, put it somewhere else. But these are like my little mixed black endler, half black blue, Japan blues that I was interested in mixing together. Not nearly as popular as the straight up half black blues with the Japan blues. Honestly, can't keep enough in stock. They're not even settled yet. Just the story behind them has sold me an uncomfortable amount. And you know, crystal wart isn't super appreciative of copper sulfate, but it is relatively resistant to it. So I guess that opens up interesting options in terms of like if you wanted to clear a tank of duckweed, if you wanted to clear it of snails, scuds, you could copper sulfate it. In one round, you might not even notice a difference in crystal wart. There'll be tiny differences. I can kind of look at this one and look at that one. I can tell it's thinning a little bit. It'll get a little bit thinner if you go for another 21 days, a total of 42 days. However, it's the only plant that sits there. When the water returns to normal, it'll come back in full force. And that's one way to get your duckweed tangled out from your crystal wart. These are my sick boys. So male guppies, male endlers are all just chilling. Oh, and this is copper sulfate. So it clears out all the fungal activity, algae, plant, invertebrate. Although I see a snail there. How is that snail there? And I'm going to be pretty transparent, open, and very vocal about my sick fish. I feel like it's one of the cruxes of this hobby. I pick up that, even people who have done this for decades eventually face sick fish. But yeah, take these apart, put them in copper sulfate. It seems like 2 tanks were affected. And then also with these guys, I saw some less than stellar swimming in there. So I treated this with Paragard. I didn't treat it with copper sulfate because I have the neon in there. And so, it's just my luck that all the Pothos, there's like a little bit of sick activity. So I'm thinking that really they're going to stay here with these roots all of their life. I'm really not going to be comfortable moving these plants anytime soon. Torn up tails were also standing out. So there he is. This little LT Great Endler, he's been giving me issues since day one. You can see the torn up tail one, the little LT Gray. The stack came from the mixed tank. The copper sulfate, he immediately looks better. For now, we'll do that. This is Medicine Road, Quarantine Road. I did treat that middle one with malachite green. Kind of see it's clearer than the rest of them. The 2 on the ends are treated with copper. This male's in here by himself. Everyone else got well. I should put him with those other males. Nevertheless, he will get fed. 2 pellets. 2 single pellets. There you go, Brohan. There he is. Boy, he's acting wacky. He sure is acting wacky for just 2 pieces of food. Didn't he eat them all? I have to keep an eye out on him. Maybe he ate those 2 pieces. He just wants more. Yeah, they're gone. You want another one, Chiefer? He's like, I might be alone, but I got my crunchies. All right. Going in hot and wild for these endlers. So we're going in for a good and proper feeding. Maybe lift some of these. Let's actually have food left over. Gross, dudes, eat that. Here we go with the rice fish fry. So the blue platinums. They look a little crunchy. I want to say 50% of them are deformed. Not good. Just want to get to the bottom of it. Get to the bottom of it. Got some red cherries. More or less coals, but red cherries nonetheless. And then we've got the Amano shrimp in there. They'll come up like they've never eaten before. So I do one wafer, a few pellets, a little scrunch of food. I like to keep the snails alive. I like to keep the shrimp in surplus. I need it for my baby. It's the big old female in there. Oh, she's got it. Oh, she's got the yum. And that just goes to show you that variety is overrated. Because really these guys will eat everything. Anything, rather. Thank you, Father. You get a lot of bang for your buck with these Amano shrimp. They live a long time. Sturdy. They will climb out, so you gotta have glass tops. Learned that the other day. See how we get the Brady Bunch as a group here. If you see, some of them are a little wacky tobacky. And really it all becomes obvious, just the 4 smallest ones. One is small and it's shaped correctly, but just, I don't think it should be small this long. This small, this long. And no, hey, they'll get to live. You get to live their life here. I contemplate, like, did the breeder not get the gene pool big enough, or is this somehow my fault? Oh no. This will make them go buck wild. This is like shrimp barbecue. I like this too. Eventually, the snails come. And when the snails come, the free-for-all begins. So off they go. I've got a scud infestation here. I see baby shrimp, and that's good, but I swear my shrimp populations have gone down because of scuds. I'm pretty sure. I'm definitely going to start doing the shrimp-only tank soon. And this is a shrimp-only tank, but till the scuds moved in. And so I moved in the first round of rice fish fry. And I'll have to talk about those in a second. Those look really good from the side. Really happy with them. I'm not sure if some are deformed because of the gene pool scraping the bottom, but that's fine. Anyone with a bent spine or deformed body, they're gonna live their full little fish life here. Ain't no deal. I'll just, try not to get the reproduction going on those particular specimens. The Amano shrimp just make me proud. They're good standalone shrimp. They're a tad too big for me to be super comfortable with them touching me. I'm just working away. It's a good shift for them right now. This biggest one is the one that was left in with the adults, and he was the only surviving one. Pretty sure the adults ate the rest. I thought I had circumstances like a big clump of guppy grass that was conducive. At that time, it wasn't guppy grass, but it was a bunch of root floaters. And what I think it happened is that the ram's horn come in, and when they're hungry, they love to eat the roots of the frog bit. So if you're having trouble with frog bit, consider what snails you have, and if they're munching and crunching on that while it's alive. You'll constantly go through things where they say snails don't eat live plants. And then if you look further, they go, well, the mystery snails might eat some plants. And you find out, well, the mystery snails might actually eat all live plants, but no other snails. And then you're like, well, some snails fine, some plants scrumdiddlyumptious. This is another one that's getting cloudy on me. All right, the first round of rice fish spawn made it into this one. It's the very first generation, and we've got a bent back for size comparison. That's how little these rice fish are. What the mystery snails have not eaten is this water lettuce. They just don't dig the vibe, don't dig the taste. We've got the leaves in here. They woke up immediately when I put the leaves in. I think that's a good choice. I tripled the amount of equilibrium that I'm putting in here, and I hope one day success. They do look better. Like, I've never had them look better, but the new shell that's coming out seems clearer. Seems thicker. I don't know. I feel like I find something new about them every month, something new that they want to eat. Their grocery list is probably as long as a hermit crab's, which they have a wild diet, and they live for 30 years, which is also wild. I'm still uneasy that I'm doing something wrong. When I run the test kits on here, it says The test strips tell me that the water is extremely hard. We'll see. Another recent thing, other than tripling the dose of equilibrium, is I've been making sure to pre-mix it. Here's the key lime endlers. Very similar to the black bar. Just got 2 pairs here and some fry. I guess it's been my slowest growing strain. Coming along. Excuse me, I figured I'd get a few pellets. Shrimp pellets, in my mind, are to keep the shrimp from being denied food. I throw lots of fry here. There's enough. Grind up some food and just kind of fine dust over there. These seem peaceful, but I'm suspicious there's no fry. Just watch that female munch and crunch that pellet she's not supposed to have. Guess we'll talk about the mixed endler tank. Really keeps the nitrates down. I saw some 6 swimmers in here, so I'll treat them with like Paragard, which I think is like malachite green, something that doesn't affect the shrimp or the invertebrates. Then I'll take the really sick ones, move them down here. And I first got a green Jade shrimp. I put one female in here, and I just laid my eyes on her for the first time in months. How am I going to do this? There we go. Alright, so I have a mixed guppy colony. I've got a mixed guppy endler colony. So I figured I wanted to try an endler only colony. So any of the throwbacks with the eBayers called throwbacks, and these were like endlers that I did not recognize. So you know, that one's a black bar. That one came with a bunch of tiger endlers and never placed the design. The Tigre endlers kind of, where's one? I need to find a good example. Ended up with a bunch of stack males, so we got those in the mixed. It's a lot of fry though. They seem extremely healthy. It's really helpful when they don't eat their fry, but you know, then again, that is quite the thicket of roots for them to hide in. You know, I think that's one of them. It came from the Tigre group, and I thought was the correct design, and it ended up it wasn't. That is a wild design. There we go, right? The blurry image, yes. There we go, that guy. That's just a wild design. I'm still not convinced that I just have like a random female in there that's not from the same spawn, but yeah, he came from the Tigre group. I've had really, the males are really low, because there's another one from that group. It's a lot less expressive. Half the males, I swear, are, I'm wondering if this is normal or I'm a special case. Half the males don't even come out with the correct markings. They come out with, like this one. You know, Bobby? Let's see if we can find it. Yeah, like that one. So a lot of them have been coming out, and they'll have kind of bland colors like that one. It's a wild world. It's a wild world with the endlers. Those silly babies. It's kind of male heavy in here. I feel like you can get away with a lot more with the endlers. Already the kind of 2 female to every 1 guppy. For me, that's really just not gospel. And at one point I used to like really stress about the ratio, which, you know, I suppose if it got real bad, you could just start pulling males off to the side, maybe sell male only packs. But you know, overall, I think I'm running this at 78 degrees. While they're all over the place, it's kept civilized. I'm not sure if anyone gets picked to the point where they become sick. Another day, another dollar. The thing I like about this food is the little baby fry can get their fill. Yeah, as soon as I get this colony up, I'm comfortable enough that the ones I plucked from this colony that look sick haven't spread to other ones. This one I'm curious about. You know, already on alert. He's got a kind of a look to him. Makes me think he could use a copper sulfate. You know, it's the thinness, it's a look in the eyes. The face looks a little gaunt, the body looks a little thin. It's easier to tell in the males than the females. Yeah, it's a list of things that it could be. I just fire from the hip, and it's really gotten my casualties almost down to 0. You coming with me, boy? You coming with me, sick boy? Here's his strain right here. This is the same strain as the presumably sick one. Just don't know. That's a bent female. Mixing the genes and we'll see if that'll straighten out. There goes the shot. All right, Cruising through my greenhouse, moving floating plants to ponds. I noticed my fish fry were gone. Not a good sign. There are scuds in here, but then I found a little piggy dipping in the piggy pond. You know, I'll treat frogs a lot nicer than dragonfly larvae. Bring them right out here to the frog pond.
Why? Hi, baby girl.
You see the baby frog? He's inside the cup.
Oh, baby.
Little baby. We're gonna leave him there. I looked up whether frogs could eat fish fry, and apparently they eat anything that fits into their mouth. A lot like dragonfly larvae. I was switching everything around because I was putting new floaters in these ponds, rearranging, and a lot of times I'll pull the floaters out when I want to get rid of the aphids that are on top. And that's what I did here. I set these outside, and really what worked the best was this clump that I set outside. These water spangles did really well out in the cold, and everything died on top of them. Somehow they retained sustenance on this frog bed. They seem to continue to creep around with the water lettuce. I think I'm just going to unleash lacewings in here because I was keeping them outside, and then I saw with each respective tank, and I prepared for this, there's actually fry in each one. And that's one there. Yeah, I walked in and I looked on this dinosaur head. And there's a giant lobster-like dragonfly larvae sitting on top, and I almost screamed. You might think it's ridiculous to expect them to live in a container. That's exactly what the fry are doing in this one. I was able to pull this one out and pulled a few right out of the pond before the parents could eat them. Different types of rice fish have different varyings of fry eating. These guys grew up right inside the pond with their parents. Only a few made it. These guys were in that bucket of hyacinth I put to the side and was spraying with neem oil. And then I was surprised by fry. These are them. For a feeding frenzy. This tank. Hello, Father. And then this one. Duckweed laden. So do the sensible thing and start with this one. One of my favorite strains. Really takes the territory over. I'm not going to try with this algae. I did put some Japanese trapdoor snails in here, hoping that they will take care of the algae. They look like they're having a terrible time. So, I need to rethink my snail strategy. If it's a common snail, I've got plenty. And with these Malaysian trumpet snails, that is no exception. I've got some Java ferns. They're like 3 years old. Can't get them to grow out. Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and feed. There's just a bunch of algae in the way. Trusty, dusty tetra granules. Okay, there we go. I've got cherry shrimp that'll come in and munch and crunch in a second. It's very snail heavy here. I've got a very big cleanup crew, and they're hungry. I feel like that's my deal with these guys. I feed you a lot, you don't eat your babies. I've got the glass vase so they can hide better from the flow. They don't use it very well. I don't think they get the concept. Try to tell them, get in the lee of the flow. Typically I feed one right on top of the other. So if I do that, they're at least distracted and they will focus. They will actually tear these pellets up. They're so persistent. And a algae tablet wafer. Okay, so for the shrimp, for the snails. I'm not going to scrape off the algae. I hope the algae would be food for these Japanese trapdoors. All right, we've got this tank. This plant has been a little reserved lately. I've been low on nutrients. I swear this stuff seems to be marketed to people with one fish tank, and maybe they don't mind spending the $20. Here we go. They know to eat all in the same place, but anyways, for $20, I got 70 amount fertilizer last me 4 years. So I'm all ferted up now, but they're a little yellow, a little dyed back. I feel like I was running a little bit of a deficiency. I feel like I was trying to avoid algae as well. Maybe the nutrient deprivation. It was a light issue. You could almost go back to your old light schedule. All right, let's see. Let's get a scoop of it out of here. I do have some shrimp in here. I just kicked a bunch of stuff by messing with plants. Usually these tanks become cloudy when I'm killing duckweed. This one, this pump has been off for a while. So we've got a good amount of shade right here. I turned the pump off because I saw a bunch of little fry in here, and I felt like I could have set that wood better for them to avoid the flow. But when I have a duckweed blanket this thick, I like to blast that air for sure. You'll probably do a change. It has been about 45 days with the glass bottom. I'm recently back on this guppy grass, but it was the big ball of guppy grass keeping the nitrates low. I could check real quick after I feed them the water parameters. Ooh, the water parameters. It's always been a pretty healthy bunch. Wasn't your typical duckweed blanket. The professional paw. Yeah. All right, that's a little better. Next, we will be feeding the 2 tiger endler tanks. Yeah, here's the first set. Come on, eat some worms. The first set of tiger endlers I've got behind the algae bale. They're all confused. I moved duckweed around, and they're all chasing the duckweed. I sure wish they would find the scuds in this tank like that. I go heavy. I tried to establish a shrimp colony in here. They did not take. There is an auto in here. And I do feed for autos. I'm lucky enough where they keep the tank clean and they feed off of the algae wafers. I know some can be finicky feeders. He's even going out after some of those granules. Oh yeah, never mind. Maybe just the wood. But yeah, the legends are true. The Moss Kingdom, hitchhiker green shrimp, more endlers. I got my mosses mixed up, but it does look like I have 3 different types. What that is. I got other hitchhikers. This is not supposed to be a cherry shrimp happen. But there you have it. Are you ready for some num-nums? I've got the original adults in here somewhere. I'm sure that's one. This tank is on a copper sulfate run, and so that's why things look decrepit. I only have 2 swordfish left. I'm not super lucky with the koi swordfish. I had 4 black mollies come in. We've got 3 left. 2 were acting wormy. So I just dosed this whole tank when you're acting wormy. So basically, I would say this tank gets exclusively bloodworms for this little guy. I've got 2 bettas, Scretas. I don't even know what's up and down anymore. And they only eat bloodworms exclusively. They're ready. I didn't see these black mollies until like 3 weeks after putting them in this tank. They were invisible. And they, after finally getting treated, started to come out and say hello. The star of the show is copper sulfate, and they're looking a little better. They were the wormy acting ones. I don't have a male swordtail koi, so I might roll the dice on that again. I think they can breed with the mollies, and you'll get swallies, more tails, but I want that koi. So I might get another 6. It's a floating log for enrichment. He looks pretty enriched, right? I stopped naming my fish. You know, superstition-wise, it's just bad luck. I know I called a porch frog a name at one time, and that didn't go well. Right along the lines of my superstition, which is, if you name the fish, you might have issues with it. I hope anonymous white male betta fish number 2 is doing okay. I don't usually have this air on. I think it's amount of drag that he's not like super thrilled with. Look at him, he's looking at me. He's like, please. All right, please. The tank is too big. I've got too many roommates. This one is a real delight, how I do it. So I've got my can, and you know, you've got the opening there, freeze-dried bloodworms. I'm gonna go in sideways. I don't have a lot of clearing space, like right there, and if I go under, you know, some clearing space. So what I'm gonna do is go in sideways and rotate the can. And to make sure my betta is only getting bloodworms, everybody eats bloodworms. Oh yeah. Not as a feast. So for a betta, but really these mollies go to town. Oh, he didn't like that. Also haven't eaten in 48 hours. Their gut is at least empty. And they're ready for a heavy feeding. Feed me, father. I'm gonna zoom in. The mollies are a lot less civilized than the swordtails. It's probably because the swordtails are super genetically mutated, fully domesticated, fully chill. with my Molly friend. He's a little bit of crazy, a little bit of daisy, and there's 3 of them. Hanging out with my Molly friend. He likes to swim around. He's looking very proud. Look at that guppy. This tank, I keep a good selection of low light plants. I think I got an iron deficiency going on. Maybe just needs fertilizer. These nodes are coming off pretty good. I think I can just clip those off, clip that one in half, and we can set it in this tank. The Java ferns, and I think one's a Windelove Java fern. I've had trouble with these. These are 3 years old, and they do not like my water. People say these are beginner plants, and I feel like not so much. You know, for instance, this one, these guys turned black in that tank I just showed you. And I had to bring them back around by just putting them in a different tank. And this is the tank I took them out of. And they've always had kind of this stunted, little mute look about them. Algae's in the way. Ain't that the story of my life? And yeah, they've always been small. But I've never seen them go all black. And this piece didn't go all black. I'm thinking maybe it was a light issue. They changed back to green when I put them here. Or I think the black leaves fell off and they grew some green ones. I'm surprised at all. I had this thing turning on for a while, so I let them just kind of get stuck in that back corner. The heater goes out in this one, makes everything cloudy, so you gotta re-put a new heater on here. And then all of a sudden, everything that you zip tied doesn't make sense anymore. These pumps are always going out or going loose. Going loose, I could just retighten it. But sometimes the fixings can get so loose that I will have to cut the line a little bit. Cut the line. I have to cut the line to make it tight again. And then these will get clogged up and I'll have to take them apart. And a lot of times the first 3 inches that are in the water gets very hard, very brittle, the airline tubing. That affects airflow. And then sometimes things just go out. Sometimes things just get clogged, like this one. I mean, we're fine because I'm not rocking duckweed. The duckweed's struggling from the copper, but should be stronger. I got so frustrated with this one, I just gave it its own air pump. And I was like blasting for a 10 gallon through there. So yes, this requires constant rebuilding. So it was like the day that I got this all kind of cleaned up, it needed readjustment and needed like a new air pump. And things pulled apart. When I first started using Velcro, they do like to pop off. And I use like a glue on one side of the Velcro, so it's got a sticky adhesive that obviously is not working. These aren't glued right now, but I'll use the Velcro doubled with kind of that rubber crafting cement. Forget exactly what it is. Like this air pump is doing really good. Whatever air valve it's coming out of, I hear something whistling. That's another thing. Just listen for whistling. I think we're good. Maybe I just have tinnitus. But if you usually listen for whistling, it'll be a loose connector. And this thing's always going out on me. It's extra tight. I probably need to redo that. Anyways, tons of air coming in through this one. So I actually, with this tank that's kind of struggling with air, has lots of duckweed. Trying something in this one. I borrowed some of the air, and now the curse is over. It's like you'll be working with some of these valves, and all of a sudden, one's not going as strong as the other one. And that's probably, this one needs a clean filter. We still have enough air passing through this, but if my air bar was off, well, that's just enough. That's just enough air. It's adequate. Wouldn't hold back that duckweed though. That's fucked still. I'll move on to the rice fish. This tank has been a little bit cursed to me. I feel like my Trapdoor snails have been having trouble trying to put them in a heavily algae tank. I'm wondering if the shrimp have picked all the good algae off this one though, because this guy seems to still be in hibernation. I've got a algae rock that I'm hoping to get covered in algae. Need to get a few more and I'll alternate those out. All of my autos I fed with algae wafers, and I was very fortunate enough they learned to eat algae wafers. Thought they were going to do mad work on this algae, and they've helped. They really like to eat the algae wafers. Not much of an algae cleanup crew. And I thought I could treat the trapdoor snails like that, and I feel like I've lost a few because they just starve and they're not getting fed right. So that's a huge bummer. Look at the little guppy fry. It's just chilling with the rice fish. There's a couple that live in here. I don't know where they came from. I think they're the blue star guppies. And I want the rice fish to get big enough to eat that scud. Get them. Let's see. There we go. There we go. Weren't supposed to be here. Runaways, they've all interbred. Renegade scuds, Renegade algae. This is the Renegade tank. Renegade pH, so I took the piece of wood and I cut it in half. It's probably still too much wood. The wisteria is acting like it really needs to be babied. And I'm like, come on. Your older brother's growing great through duckweed and everything. Why are you so tortured? That's my pet talk to the plants. I hope it works. White oak leaf in there. That's not making it cloudy. Plant material and or algae. Now I could have probably just flushed this entire tank before I filmed it. Now you know it's candid. The koi rice fish I pulled from the pond. Koi rice fish fry I pulled from the pond, I'm sorry. Pretty good stock compared to the blue ones. No crooked backs. They didn't get sprayed with neem oil though either. Feeding the fish room, I guess we could feed the plants too. This Alamanda is dramatic. It likes to sit in a ball of mud, as does the hibiscus. This thing's thirsty. It's cold. I've watched all the scuds die out of this one. I think they starved. Let's see. Yeah, they're gone. The funny thing about this tank is it emptied out on my floor, and then when I put it outside, it fills right up again. No idea. Got these little seed pods. It's not a bird or anything. That's from that tree. But yeah, did I melt the sealant? Did I have a bonfire and melt the sealant? I don't know. An interesting experiment. It's going to get dumped. Something that I've noticed is, I thought that was an animal. That's a seed. All of the frog bit, or for one, the frog bit chased out all the water lettuce out of this. And then you can see the frog bit is yellow. There's this green patch. This looks healthier than the rest. When you look under it, it's like attached itself to some kind of artificial mat. Just snake jump out of here. So I don't know, the roots like to sit in something, makes them healthier. I have no idea what that phenomenon is. I don't see scuds in this one. If you don't pick up a larvae, it's like I wonder why the roots stay intact. There's got to be ram's horn in here. Maybe the algae production is high enough the ram's horn doesn't bother with the roots. But it feels like, let's see, is that ram's horn? Yeah, there's baby ram's horn right there. Yeah, maybe my hypothesis is incorrect or something's off. Anytime I have these frog bit outside, the roots seem to continue to grow. Is it like a light thing? My indoor looks healthier than this, but the root systems are rocking. That is prime rice fish hatchery right there. This thing needs more water than you'd suspect. Right at the bottom of that. Fern always likes to be soggy. This needs fertilized. And look at this pineapple sage. It's probably my favorite little surprise. I had no idea this was a fall winter plant, but it is absolutely gone wild. It's like bush status. I'm not sure if I ever caught the flowers correctly. They're in between blooming right now. It's a pretty cool plant. A lot of this moved out here. These were the top floaters for the guppies, and the aphids were awful. So I put them out here, and they've been cut down a lot. I've seen some predators around, not as many as I'd like. And they still, I thought they were dead because they turned black, but evidently that's their winter coat. Lovely, because they definitely move around on there still. So I don't know, with blank pods, I don't think it would be awful to neem oil it. I've kind of looked, this has been an attempt to kind of see if I could fully eradicate duckweed in unfavorable conditions. And while it's close, it's a styrofoam, lovely. The secret ingredient, styrofoam. It's not quite, it's a lot more manageable, but if you were to bring this inside to a duckweed-free zone, you'd have to do some cleaning. And of course, here's the one example of water lettuce. Still hanging on. Does not like the cold. Pretty good root structure. Not a fan of the cold. But yeah, the pothos, I just want that as like a security blanket. It started off as duckweed, was my first security blanket. And what I mean by that is a plant that grows so plentiful, you don't have to think about it. And then it kind of puts a buffer between you and nitrates. And you know, another one was guppy grass. I'm kind of like a squid, and anytime I get nervous, I throw a big bunch of guppy grass. And you know, you go in the garage and you look at the ponds, nothing can be truer. I got nervous about fry distribution, so there's my squid catapult. There's my squid activity. Instead of a blotch of ink, it's a blotch of guppy grass. Crap, dude. Okay, so my point is, you know, from the duckweed to the guppy grass to now I think the pothos, the plants that are breathing the same air as we are, and they're pulling everything from the atmosphere. I feel like they most certainly pull more nutrients through their roots. We'll come back to this one. You see this wisteria? It's my only wisteria that's doing well. Oh gosh, don't touch it. You know, it's just one of those plants that you need to just set once, hope it hooks, be thankful, don't mess with it again. And, you know, if it comes emerged, let it be emerged, I think. Putting it back in has been quite regressive. As it dies back, it just doesn't seem to come back. I'll show you one like that. It's this wisteria that I'm having trouble with. You can see, not a great time. Not a great time that it's having. But yeah, the pothos is the way to go, thos. Except this one. Why does it want to grow like that? Why are the roots pointed in that direction? It's an anomaly. I don't know what's going on. This is my second weirdest one. Guess I'll go ahead and feed these guys. They're getting so excited they're jumping out the tank. I do feed heavy because I want a lot of babies. And if I can, I feed twice a day. They've only eaten once a day, so you can really just lay it on there. Got scavengers in the tank as well. The duckweed has really taken over. First, the aphids were taking over. It was like they were sheltered from the weather in this garage. And then, when I took all the other floaters out, put them outside for the aphids to die. A lot of the juveniles made it in this one. When I took the floaters out, they did clear all the fry, unfortunately. Just adults in there. This one, just a bunch of different size babies. Just really try to grind it up front fine. This one, exactly one fry made it. So there's 4 adults in here and like 1 juvenile. They don't need help. Here they come.
And I think that's what I got for this round. I don't know exactly what my formula is. I just know that I want to keep doing it. Until next time, fish keepers. Until next time.
What in the hell? Hey, it's my Amano shrimp.